What's going on, everybody? This is Matt Does Fitness, and I have written a song about a tortilla. Actually, it's more of a rap. Okay, that was a joke, but I am an incredible singer-songwriter. Okay, as you probably deduced from the video title, today I'm going to talk about steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs, specifically in the field of bodybuilding and powerlifting. Before I get into the video, just to clarify quickly, in case you weren't already aware, I've never taken drugs and I never will do. Right, let me start by saying I come from a track and field background whereby anyone taking performance-enhancing drugs is a cheat. Plain and simple, it's against the rules, you're gaining an unfair advantage, therefore you are cheating. However, in bodybuilding and powerlifting, it's slightly different, it's not so black and white. Purely because there are competitions, you have the option to compete in a environment whereby there's no drug testing. So therefore, it's kind of assumed that a lot of people are going to be on drugs. In that environment, you're obviously not cheating so much because it is kind of a fair playing field. Therefore, if you are competing in a non-drug tested competition and you're not trying or seeking to gain an advantage over non-drug users, then I don't really have a problem with that as such, as long as obviously you are not breaking the law, you're not endangering anyone, you're not putting anyone else at risk. To take it to an extreme and kind of play devil's advocate a little bit, you can almost argue that actually in some scenarios it could potentially be quite entertaining. Obviously, if you are taking performance-enhancing drugs, it enables you to achieve sporting feats which otherwise would not be possible. So if you think of, if you take someone who's incredibly strong naturally or incredibly fast naturally, and you give them the correct performance-enhancing drugs in the correct environment, which are kind of tailored to them and are going to help them perform better, you are going to end up getting a performance which is unbelievable. And if you get a field of athletes, hypothetically, who are all taking drugs, all taking, again, tailored drugs that are suited to them to help them perform better, you're going to get a competition, a sporting competition, which is of a much higher caliber than it would be if it was done under normal circumstances in the absence of drugs. However, that's not to say that that should be the case. Just, again, playing devil's advocate, saying that it could potentially make an incredible spectacle. With all of that said, again, to reiterate, I've never taken drugs and I would obviously never advise anyone else to take drugs. Purely because, in my personal opinion, I think the risks and the potential side effects outweigh the potential benefits. Obviously, in certain sports, you could argue that the massive financial rewards that are on offer outweigh the risks, and that is, that's down to your discretion. But particularly talking about bodybuilding and powerlifting, there's not a massive amount of money, generally speaking, to be had, and so the risks associated with taking drugs, and there obviously are numerous risks, some of which are pretty massive. We're talking about endangering your life. I can't possibly see how you could argue the case that taking them, the benefits of taking them outweighs the risks. On top of that, you have the cost. Obviously I and most people, I'm assuming, are in the same situation. You haven't got money to throw around, you can't afford to be taking drugs, and on top of this, there are new substances, new drugs being created all the time or being altered all the time, and obviously with these new products there's no long-term studies being done on them, so you don't know the risk. There might be something that initially appears to have no side effects, but when you take it over a concerted period, take it for a couple of years or 10 years, 20 years down the line, you might just collapse and die, but you're not going to know that because there are no long-term studies done on these new substances. So again, in a lot of the cases, you do not know the risks, you don't know how your body is going to respond to that particular drug, and so again, that, in my opinion, far outweighs any potential benefit you're going to get. So, in conclusion, all of that being said, obviously I can't affect anyone who is taking drugs, I can't make them not take drugs, I can't really hugely influence their decision. Therefore, there isn't much point in me getting, me kind of concerning myself about it. When I was competing in track and field, it was different because obviously if I'm doing a competition and someone is taking performance-enhancing drugs, they are that's directly having an impact on me because that's obviously reducing my chances of winning. It's giving them an unfair advantage, and in that case it's different. However, in the field of bodybuilding and powerlifting, assuming you are competing in an environment whereby there are no drug tests, I think it's kind of an unwritten thing that people assume everyone's going to be, or a lot of people are going to be on drugs, and therefore you kind of go into that knowing it. However, obviously, like I've said, if you are doing it, you are taking drugs, performance enhancing substances, in order to gain an advantage over someone who is not taking those substances, that is where I have a problem with that, and that is where obviously you are hugely morally wrong and you shouldn't be doing that. Again, if you are taking a substance that is illegal, again, you shouldn't really be doing that, and that is where the issue lies. And that is all I have to say on that topic. So I hope you found the video entertaining. Give me your thoughts on this subject in the comments section. You know, if you have any experiences in this field, if you know of anyone that's had experiences along those lines, let me know. Please like, comment, share, subscribe as always, and I will see you tomorrow.